You may recall last week, Monday, ASUU members of Federal University of Technology staged a peaceful protest in front of the Bosso campus. That was necessitated by what happened within the university 3 or 4 days earlier, before that time. It was brought to our attention by the Vice Chancellor of the university uh, that a letter was written by the Governor of Niger State, dated 3rd of October 2025, saying that the Bosso campus was leased to the Federal University of Technology for 40 years, and that expired 2023, and that we should vacate the campus, or probably it should be handed over back to Niger State government since the lease agreement is over. After that, November 27 last year too, a letter was written by the SSG, the government to state government, asking the university with a threat that the university must vacate Bosso campus to avoid unpleasant consequences. When we saw this, say this is just a threat, and probably the university will respond to it. After the response from the university, we just heard that they visited the entourage of the deputy governor, and some commissioners visited Bosso campus, and the attention of the vice chancellor was drawn. He went there. When he got to the place, that the deputy governor started now sharing that from the main gate to this drainage, Niger State will take it, and further from the drainage going towards the CPES, that will belong to Federal University of Technology. When I said no, when we got to know of this, ASUU as a union, it might interest you to know that ASUU is about the system. ASUU is to fight for the welfare of staff, students, and to protect the system. Anything that will make education to be of good quality and accessible to everyone. That is what ASUU is for. And we have our students on Bosso campus, and we have our colleagues too, occupying the staff quarters. So that's why we say it is essential for us to draw the attention of the general public to what is happening on both on our campus, and to know, to let people know that that place was purchased outrightly. It was not leased. And even if it was leased, this agreement in Nigeria is for 99 years. So we wouldn't know where 40 years came from, or even the 30 years the governor was saying later in his interview, where it came from. But FUT purchased that place outrightly. It was originally St. Malachi Teachers College, which was later added over to the Niger State government, which now became Niger State Teachers College. And when University of Technology was established, and there was need for us to for them to look for a place where they would site the university, the then governor of Niger State, Alhaji Hawal Ibrahim, the now emir of Suleja, gave that place to FUT Mina. And FUT Mina said they have to pay adequate compensation, because when you give a site for you take off of university, it must be on a permanent basis. And adequate compensation was paid to the tune of 2.8 million naira in two tranches through Bank of the North. And the voucher, everything was presented. But there is something on that paper that people don't know. Maybe when we get to that place, or probably when there's any question around that, maybe we'll say it. It was National University Commission that you have on that paper. National University Commission versus Niger State Ministry of Works and Education. So maybe when we get to that question, that was actually what happened, and that was the reason why we said it is essential, for clarity's sake, for people to know that FUT Bosso campus was acquired on a permanent basis, and adequate compensation was paid to Niger State government to replicate the same property on that site in another place at no cost to the state. So there was never a time a lease agreement was signed. It was outright purchase, and that was why we said no. We as critical stakeholder in the system, we cannot fold our hands. We have students there. We need to protect their interests. Without students, we don't have any business here, and we have our colleagues occupying the staff quarters. So we need to protect every of our members, as well as student and property of the university, and that was the reason why we staged that peaceful protest.
Yes, we can say we achieved our result, because the object of the process was, one, to inform the university community, which comprises staff, students, and the entire MENA community and the whole world, of what is happening. Because we find it appalling that our campus, our students, staff, and every member of the university community will be asked to evacuate the university campus, which we have bought outrightly, according to what the chairperson just said. So the public was well educated through our protest. They knew what was happening. So many media outlets broadcasted it, and that precipitated a meeting between the Niger State government and the university at the Minister of Education's conference room during the week of the protest. So the authorities are aware, NUC is aware. Through the protest, the alumni also made a press release concerning the issue. So the protest actually achieved its primary objective, which is first of all to inform and to precipitate action from different quarters vis-a-vis NUC and the Ministry of Education. And that we have had. The meeting between Niger State government, the Ministry of, Niger State government, the Ministry of Education, supervised by the Ministry of Education, and the university community. So by and large, the protest actually achieved its primary objective of informing.
So, on that day, at the instance of the Minister of Education, who was there as a mediator on this issue, even though we have our reservations as to how the event turned out, but I'll tell you how we started. We arrived in company of our Vice Chancellor, who led our delegation. Please take note that the Chairman of Council was actually supposed to lead that delegation because he is supposed to be the father of the university at that meeting. But then we saw a different twist because the Chairman of Council arrived with the state government delegation instead of arriving as our own leader. He arrived with the state government delegation. In fact, in the first instance, he sat down with the state government delegation before he was informed to move over to his own side, which is with us. So that is the first aberration that we observed. And then the minister gave the honor, the respect to the governor to moderate the matter. A situation where he is an interested party. But along the line, he had his opening remark, the governor, and the university was asked to state its side. The Chairman of Council was asked to lead the discussion, and what he simply did was to exonerate the council and hand it over to the Vice Chancellor as to why we're here. And what the Vice Chancellor did as an intellectual was to present the issue based on evidence and documents. So the first thing he did was to ask us to present the current state of Bosso campus in order to clear the air on one of the accusations by the state government that says the campus has been lying fallow for 15 years. So what the university did was to come up with a video of about 9 minutes of what Bosso campus is, showing classrooms being occupied by students, showing hostels with activities, clinic with ongoing activities, and all of that. So this video was supposed to play for about 9 minutes, but at about 3 minutes 90 something seconds, there were agitations that, no, it's too long, can we round up and all that. And then the minister asked us to put off the sound and then allow the video to keep playing. And then afterwards, he asked the Vice Chancellor to do his presentation. At a point where the Vice Chancellor started showing evidence, receipts, vouchers, documents, C of O for all adjourning acquisition and all of that. They were all presented. Having made this presentation, the governor was asked to react. And what the reaction from the governor, though a bit emotional in terms of his reaction, but one import that we got is the fact that the discussion moved from we need our property back to a point where can we share this property? Can we have a feel in order for our medical students to have their accreditation and all that? A power which the Vice Chancellor said he doesn't have the power to cede or share the property of the university with anybody. And then the issue was referred to the council of the university, that the council should go back and discuss on the modalities of possible sharing of that facility. So that is the point.
I have never seen any university in Nigeria who has its own accreditation and duly composed that shares property with another university on the same campus. Even when if you travel, I marry from Patigi area. If you travel on River Niger and River Kaduna, you see the two rivers going side by side without mixing together. That's to show you that to bring students from another university to come and share campus with our university may not be a good idea. And the problem is that just look at that word, co-sharing. You can only share a property that you own with somebody that probably that is jointly owned. Give us a space to use is different from let's share. We need to look at that. And if you want to share, truly the way it was reported by the welfare officer, do we, the chairman of council or the council of every team, do they have the capacity to do that? Because the receipt carries NUC, National University Commission. And I can say it here, that in one way or the other, the minister goofed. Because you had the supervising minister of education and you have NUC under your watch. And NUC wrote a letter dated 13th August 2014 that when they acquire a place for takeoff of a university is on a permanent basis, and that has not changed. And you have the same letter with you. Why was NUC not involved? Can we share the property that NUC said cannot be shared, and you want to use it for accreditation? This thing is very simple. Sharing of property can only happen when you jointly own the property. Even outside the country where you have two universities sharing, that is Oakland in California. We have Holy Names University and Samuel Merritt University. The two of them are even in partnership with the aim, or they are even exploring the opportunity of becoming one. So having two universities on the same campus is already, because at a point there will be friction between the students. And now, even if you want to share, the student paid for hostel accommodation for a year. Where do you want us to move them to? We have about 2,000 students in hostel in Bosso. Where do we move them to? Out of this 2,000 students we are talking about 45% of to 50% they are from Niger State. Borogu Emirate, it might just Borogu Emirate is even being paid for by the Minister of State for Agriculture. So he's sponsoring about 87 students, those ones that are orphans from the bandit ravaged areas. 87 of them. Kotangura Emirate has about 47 or thereabout. Kagara Emirate has. Niger Mina Emirate has. And Mina Emirate has. All of them are in Bosso campus. Those are another level and above. We have some of them in the media too that they are paying for. Where do we take them to? Are they from Niger State? What of those people in the staff quarters? If you say they should leave, we are going to co-share. Where do we move them to? Or we just ask them to go on the street? No, this thing is very simple. I don't just know, probably if there's an opportunity for us to advise Niger State government. This is not the first time university will be going through this kind of a route that you have this kind of problem. University of Abuja at a point in time ran into a problem where they don't have accreditation for the engineering and their medicine. The engineering students were brought to FUT Minaya. We graduated them. And the medical student was taken to University of Georgia thereabout. And they were graduated. Instead of mounting unnecessary pressure on themselves, why don't you take the same step, take this student to either ABU or where he graduated from UDUS as an alumnus, take them to that place, graduate them, don't put yourself under unnecessary pressure. Then you start afresh. And by the time you get to that level where they will go to clinical again, all the you will have gotten yourself, and probably all those things will have been in place. But in a situation whereby we just want a cosmetic approach to the issue, it will not solve the problem, because dental and medical council, they are aware that the property does not belong to them. Bringing students to FUT campus thinking that probably it could get them accreditation, they can only make matter worse. And it's unfortunate they have a seasoned academics as their commissioner for tertiary education, Professor Mohammed Yakubu Auna, a planner and an administrator. I'm sure, I don't know who's advising the governor, but probably if this thing is taken well, and even if the vice chancellor is given the opportunity to do his job, probably they will have gotten a solution to this issue. Co-sharing of that property, I'm not sure if council has the power to preside over that kind of a meeting and share property that was signed by NUC, Niger State Ministry of Works, and Niger State Ministry of Education. I'm not sure.
You see, the chairperson has made it very simple. What actually precipitated this problem is getting accreditation for your medical student. And he has preferred solution. You don't go acquiring property that is not yours just because you want accreditation. This is not the first time it's happening to medical students all over the country. University will start a program, and along the line, they discover that for us to get accreditation, we need more facilities. They partner with other. We have our medical college have come up, and we're at that level. It will have been a simple thing. The student will have just been transferred, just like the University of Abuja student, the engineering student was transferred to us some years ago, and we graduated. It will have been easier. First, what the Niger State government needs to do is, one, recognize that Bosso campus is not their property. It's not for lease. Once you recognize that, the second thing you need to do, this knee-jerk approach will not solve the problem. Get other universities that you can partner with who are running their medical program. Transfer your student to them while you have time to put facility in place. You understand? FUT Mina has made progress in recent years academically. I know many of our listeners are aware. This university have there's no how you mention Federal University of Technology without talking about Mina. It's incomplete.
Definitely.
You can't talk about Mina without talking about Niger State. So
at the moment, it's safe to say FUT Mina is the best specialized university in the country.
Thank you very much
for that.
Yeah. We are making progress. This is the wrong time to distract us, because this is all distraction. The time that we spend going to Abuja explaining this, explaining that, we want to get to do our primary object of training students, making research, producing innovations for national development. So we don't want distraction. Acknowledge that this property is not yours. Get your student to other universities that are running medical program. He gave an example of UDUS. ABU Zaria is there. University of Ilorin is there if it's not too far. It will give you ample time to develop your facility. Then Niger State and Federal University of Technology can work together in the future. We can partner in different areas and develop. It pays both parties. It's a win-win situation for both parties. But disturbing our program just because you have a problem, don't transfer your problem to us. As ASUU, we want quality education for students, whether they are students from state university, private university, or federal-owned universities. Looking for facility where they do not exist, or removing some students simply because you want to educate your own. I think it's a selfish idea. The students in Bosso campus, they are Nigerians. He just explained that they are Nigerites. Some of them are Nigerites. People who live in the staff quarters, they are Nigerians. They have the right to be well educated in that facility, to live in that facility. So, what do you want to achieve when you drive them away? Where do you want them to go? Where do you want them to live? From where do you want them to get their education from? there is no problem as far as this issue is concerned. The basic solution is transfer this student to other university where they have adequate facility. This gives you ample time to prepare for the next set. And we are sure if you do take this step, you will get accreditation when the time comes. But for now, let the state government not distract Federal University of Technology. We are making progress. We don't want distraction. We want this university to keep moving forward and making giant strides.
You see, the idea of we want to take over, we want our campus back. Do you know there are certain, but because I happen to be the national secretary of the Alumni Association of FUT Mina. So within the crop of alumni, we have certain individuals who are sentimentally, emotionally, and even spiritually attached to Bosso campus. If you look at some of the alumni of this university who graduated before 2004, they know no other place other than Bosso campus. Some of them, when they come to town, the first place they go to is Bosso campus. Oh, this is the chapel that we used to attend. This is the mosque that we used to pray. This were our classroom, D block, lecture theater, and all that. Then somebody just wake up. You're trying to erase the history of certain individuals. You think they're going to leave it? They're going to just watch and let you have it? It's not going to happen. That is number one. Then, for Niger State government, it is very simple. Niger State government has a lodge. IBB University has a lodge here in Mina. If the idea is to have a place where you want to do your program, where you want to have your classroom and want to have your hostel, why won't they use IBB guest house as the accommodation for these students? And then they can either use, if it is the IBB specialist hospital that is going to be their teaching hospital, if it is going to be the general hospital, using IBB guest house as their location for accommodation and classroom would have been the best bet for them, instead of looking to confiscate or colonize someone else's property. So I think they should look towards things like this. They have this infrastructure. All they need to do is to put on their thinking cap and look at their own available infrastructure and make judicious use of it, not to look the way of FUT Mina.
I think the genesis of this problem was caused by the chairman of council. And I want to say categorically that he's unfit because he has missed the opportunity to provide leadership that is expected of him. The law of the university says, the law that established Federal University of Technology says, Section 6, Subject 10, and that it shall be called the governing council, and they have control over the policy, finance, and property of the university. If it's now the one spearheading sharing of the university or transferring property of the university, is unfit. And it's unfortunate that somebody from Niger State will now be chairman of the governing council of the university that is domiciled in the state. That's conflict of interest. It's not protecting the university's property.
Contributions as well as opinions shared by guests and listeners on this program are exclusively theirs and do not necessarily reflect the position of Search FM nor project the views of the university.